How's it going, everybody? So, today we're going to be talking about the Tinkerer's Construct. A viewer of mine was asking how I went through and built the forge. And we had a bit of a discussion and through and make the forge. So instead of just doing one aspect of it, I would just cover, what I know of the Tinkerer's Construct mod for Bedrock Edition. So, let's get started. So starting out, whenever you get Tinkerer's Construct, you should get a book. I may not have it on me at the current moment, but you should get a book that'll give you the basic tutorial of how to go through and start using, the Tinkerer's Construct mod, crafting stations and tools and all that other stuff. So, the three main components of the mod itself, or add-on, is you're going to want these three stations to start out with. You have the stencil table, you have your part builder, and then you have the tinkerer station, which will allow you to go through and build your actual tools, such as, your pickaxe, your shovels, or your shoals, or whatever it's called. Shoals. I'm just going to call it a shoal. It's a shovel and a hoe mixed together. It's a nice quality of life improvement. But, how do you go about making it? Well, you need to come over here to your crafting station and look for, your tinkerer station and, where is it? It might have to be all items, wouldn't it? Let's see. Yes. So, come here, you're going to want to get your, your part builder and your stencil table and all that. And most of these is all just, get, a crafting table, one log of whatever, and a blank pattern. And a blank pattern is actually fairly easy to go through and get. It's just, I believe, yes, 2 sticks and any plank of whatever type that you may have available on you. So you go through and you get 3 of these per build. So after you have all of your stations built, you want to go through and actually start, building things. So, you have the patterns here. So, in order to actually start doing anything, you need to get your patterns. So, go through, grab the patterns that you need, and you're going to need the bindings as well. I'm going to skip this step, but pretty much the binding pattern is just string. You can get string by going out and just smacking the grass. Hey, got mountain call. So, you're out here. You can go through and get it from tall grass, normal grass, and once you have a fair amount of these, you can turn it right into string with 4 of them. You get 2 string per plant fiber. So once you have everything together, come down here, you get your patterns and all that. Now it's a matter of constructing. Well, what do you need to start actually constructing your first tool? Well, you need to go through and get the materials needed to actually start making it. So come over here, you can make your stone head, or your axe stone head, and your stone handle. You can mix and match if you want to do like a bone handle or a wooden handle. Each thing has different durabilities, so it kind of depends on whatever one you want to go through and do. This looks like more of a durability multiplier. So for the sake of things, we'll just go through and make a stone handle, and we'll go through and make a stone head. And in here, you would also need to make your binding. So you would need 4 string and then your binding pattern. So after you have everything together, you come over here, and there you go. There's your stone axe. And it has the summoner's trait, which the traits are explained in the book as well. And the summoner's trait just makes it to where whenever you're mining stone, it has a chance of spawning silverfish. It's a bad trait, but it's whatever. So now that we got the basics kind of covered, it's time to step up to the meltery, your casting station, and your basin. And if you actually want to start making weapons, you need the Tinkerer's Anvil, which all it takes to make a Tinkerer's Anvil. So you have the Tinkerer's Anvil, and there is a copper one. Yes, there's the copper one. You would need seared bricks and 3 copper blocks. It's cheap. You can get these ones if you want. It's more of like a flex, but you really don't need the iron or the diamond one. You realistically just need the copper one if you want to get your weapons and tools, your weapons faster, because that's the only way you can actually start crafting any of the weapons from this pack. So, how do we go through and make the meltery? Well, you want to go through and see where it's at in your items list. Should be fairly close to the top. Yours may be different because I have extra mods and everything. You may have more or less, depending on whatever setup you have. But right here is your melter. So you need 4 seared bricks and 2 seared blocks. No, 3 seared blocks and seared glass. Well, how do we get the seared bricks? Well, it's pretty easy. You need this thing called grout. Should be, yes, it's in the natures tab. So how do you get grout? You need sand, clay, and gravel. So once you have these items, come over here. Oh no, my bad, it's in the construction. You get 2 grout for every one of these items that you have on you. I have to put some of this away. We'll just throw it in here. I don't believe this works on a blast furnace. They may have changed it. I don't have one yet. So if you have one, feel free to test it. If not, then you'll just have to smelt it in a normal furnace. So go through and smelt your grout. It'll take a little bit of time. You get 1 brick for every grout smelted. So this will take a minute, but we can start playing around with some of the ones that I do have available to me. So, seared brick you get from the grout. And it takes 4 bricks to make 1 seared block. So, once you have this, you're pretty much good to start crafting most of these items. So let's see. For this, the casting basin takes, 7 of these to make the casting basin, which is what you're going to need to like cast your blocks and everything. Your casting table, same deal, just in a different pattern. And your meltery, which y'all seen, takes most of this as well. So kind of space out, go through, farm up, get as much of the bricks as you can. And as far as the glass go, it's just glass, normal glass, and the brick around it in a 4 pattern. So I'm not going to go through and craft that. So, but this is what I can show you here. We should have some coal down here, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I also have some in there. Nice. Did not know that. Yes, we do have some coal. So how this works. Come over here. Grab some... We'll grab some copper because we're going to need to showcase that. So, come over. Grab your coal. Put it in your inventory, or put it in your hotbar. And go through and you add just enough to get the forge up and running. This is your fuel indicator on how much fuel you have in there. You can fill it all the way up, but I wouldn't really recommend it because unless if you're going through and doing a lot of smelting, there's not really much of a point. Like 2 or 3 coal in there is more than enough to get the job done. It doesn't go down very fast. It's plenty of time to go through and make what you want to make. So, throw this in here for a second. So, now that you got your copper in hand, it doesn't take much to go through and fill it. So, now that it's filled, you can extract it. You can either use the empty copper cans that you can get by crafting copper or getting copper ingots and putting it into a bucket shape. So there it is. Yes. So you can put it like in here. It'll give you 3 copper cans. And then from there, you can go through and start pulling it out with this. But we're going to move on to the next part. In order to make your iron tools, you need to go through and get sand castings. How do you get them? Self-explanatory. Come over here, type in sand. There's your sand casting. And you also have some of the other variants as well, like red sand and just sand castings. I don't know where you get red sand from, but if you know, you can get that as well. 1 sand will give you 4 castings, and since we already have some available to us, we'll just use these. Alright, now that we got our now that I got the material to make some blank patterns again, make a couple so that I have some on hand. Come over here, get rid of them. You can also make the blank patterns from here as well. You don't have to do it from the crafting table, but you can also do it from, you can either do it from the crafting table or the stencil table, whatever is easier. So let's go through and make an iron axe. So go through, grab your axe head, and grab your rod. And from there, you want to come over. You're going to need your stone. Go ahead, grab your stone head, grab your rod. Now, here's where the magic happens. So, grab your molten bucket, or iron can, or molten can. Grab the piece that you need, put it in there, pop it out. There's your sand casting. Take your iron, dump it in. Your can didn't go away, or at least it shouldn't have. Did it just consume the can too? I don't remember it doing that, unless that was a recent change that they did. Do the same thing for your rod. Double check that. And whenever you put the item in the frame here, for like the gold and stuff, whenever you actually start doing the gold castings like this, you will lose that stone item. Just to give you a heads up. So, put that in. And then you can reuse these too. You can always keep them for the other ones, or use them for whenever you actually get to the gold patterns here. Because the gold patterns are infinite. You can use these as many times as you want. So you can make up an entire chest and just fill them to the brim with these things of all the items that you would ever want to craft. And then you're good. You're set for life. So, there's some more pieces back in there to keep that going. So, now that you have your iron head and iron rod, which these also give the magnetic buff, the magnetic buff will allow you to be able to drag in blocks, and I will showcase that here in a minute. So, come over to your part builder, and there you go. There's your iron axe head. And the durability on these things are way better than the actual original versions of any of the tools that you can craft in the game. So if I go through and hold this iron axe head out, like if I go through and drop some blocks over here, switch over to the iron axe head, it'll drag it towards me. So, let us get the iron out of this furnace though real quick. So, in order to start making the bigger forge, you need this. You need 1 brick, put it in the basin, take your copper, dump it in there. That'll give you the furnace bit, or at least the smeltery controller. So, I will not fully set this up, and I already have one set up over here. But to give you an idea, like I'll show you the one over here in a minute. But once you place this down, it will give you a grid of how much you need to build. And the only thing you really need is the controller, which is just getting a seared brick and combining it with copper. That's your port where you would be pulling out the materials from. The dispenser, or not the dispenser, the holding tank, which will hold your lava and everything, because this one does not use coal. This will use lava. So, you would need that bit, which is seared glass and the brick, and then you would need the dispenser, which is also copper and a seared brick, I believe. But let me double check the crafting recipe for that. See, yes. So your drain requires 4 bricks and 2 copper ingots. And then your seared tank is just the bricks and the glass in the middle. So you would put this on the left of the control panel, and you would put this on the right of the control panel for the drain. And then you would just need to build the bricks up to go through and make it then. So you would build the bricks up 3 high on each side, and you do need bricks in the middle. So if you are planning on using this, you will have to break the ground here underneath to put the bricks in. So now that we discussed this, you can pick it up and remove it too. If you do not like the spot that you are in, crouch and left click, and then you can pick it up. It will go right back into your inventory. But now that we have that established, let's come over here to where my actual setup is and take a look. So, this is your holding tank. This is the area that you would go through and throw your minerals and ores in. And then you would also have the drain tank. So this is where you will pull all of your ores out of. And to make diamonds, make 1 diamond part, it does only take 2 diamonds. So you would just need 4 diamonds in total. And then you would have a super jacked up diamond tool that is better than the base diamond. So at this point, I pretty much covered the basics. If you want me to do a further in-depth guide on this whole thing, please let me know in the comments. But outside of that, everything is covered. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.